Bluegrass Jam Along is proud to be sponsored by Collins Guitars and Mandolins, each and every one built from the sound up in Austin, Texas. This episode is also brought to you by Peghead Nation, the home of roots music instruction. If you want to improve your playing, join me and thousands of other pickers getting better every day at pegheadnation.com. Hi, this is Matt, and you listen to Bluegrass Jam Along, the podcast for anyone and everyone who loves bluegrass. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is your Bluegrass Briefing for Wednesday, May the 29th, 2004. Couple of reasons for that. One is we had a public holiday here in the UK on Monday, just like you guys did in the States. So I wasn't around, and also I don't have a main episode for you this week, so I thought I'd put the briefing out on Wednesday. A couple of reasons for that. I had one interview lined up that had to be rescheduled, and I'm doing it again later today. And then another one lined up that I had to cancel because I was ill last week, and so I just don't have anything for you this week. But there will be two more coming, and they're both going to be really interesting, so do stick around for those. So yeah, I thought I'd put this briefing out today, and then we've got a Wednesday episode. So, what's the news? Bronwyn Keith Hines interview from last week. If you missed that, go and check that out. We chat about Bronwyn's wonderful new record, I Built a World. Also about winning a Grammy with Molly Tuttle. Just cool to chat to Bronwyn again. She's just, she's a joy to talk to and such an amazing musician. Do go and check that one out if you haven't heard it. Coming up, I have got an interview with Jacob Jolliffe about his brand new record, Mandolin Mysteries, and that's happening. I'm recording that this week. I'm also going to be talking to Tony Trishka about his brilliant Earl Jam record. Also recording that this week, so there'll be the next two episodes next couple of weeks. So keep an eye peeled for those. Lots going on as always, and lots of conversations in the mix at the moment. I'm just sort of working things out for June and July, but lots of really cool stuff coming. So I will fill you in on that as and when we go. If you want to support Bluegrass Jam Along, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts for a couple of dollars a month, and that will get you ad-free listening and help you support the podcast. If you want to support Bluegrass Jam Along and you want to do it without spending any money, which is totally understandable, you can share it. Just find an episode that you really enjoyed, send it to a friend, or tell people at your local jam, or just spread the word, and that all helps just as much. So, if you enjoy the podcast, please spread the word and consider supporting Bluegrass Jam Along in one way or another. That is the end of this message. I will move on now to the content, starting with the news and announcements, which we like to call Church Street News. And this week's Church Street News. So, IBMA International Stage, and they did this last year. I was out there and saw some of this. It was great. Being an international, being one of the people who put the I in the IBMA, I think it's a really cool idea. And they're accepting submissions for the 2024 International Stage right now. It's a curated performance lineup, limited number of performance times and slots available. It's going to be in the convention centre right outside the entrance to the exhibit hall on the spot that I think last year was a workshop stage. International artists and groups who are already registered to attend the conference are encouraged to apply to participate. US-based artists and groups with an international tie of some kind are also encouraged to take part. And that sort of counts foreign nationals living overseas, foreign nationals living and working in the US, and US nationals with a strong international connection, like working with the US State Department as a cultural ambassador or having been on multiple overseas tours. And for people coming from out of the US, if you're normally in a band but your whole band's not coming, you can still sign up as a solo performer or a duo. The deadline to submit is Friday, June the 21st. I will stick a link in the show notes. So if you want to play the IBMA International Stage during IBMA's World of Bluegrass, that is your opportunity. Link in the show notes. Go and have a look. Great opportunity. Go and do it. Next thing up is Fisher Center's Bluegrass on Hudson 2024 series, which is curated by Ruth Oxenberg and Rob Schumer, who directed and produced the documentary film Bluegrass Journey, which sort of centres around Grey Fox Bluegrass Festival, which is a wonderful watch. I love it. It's a really cool film. But they have been running house concerts, and they are curating the Fisher Center's Bluegrass on Hudson series called Trunks, Roots and Branches. Including this year, they've got Eastern Ash Grass, they've got Jake Blount, they've got Sierra Hull. I will stick a link in the show notes. You can go have a look and see what's on there and get some tickets if you're on the upstate New York area or fancy travelling there. Really cool looking venue as well. I mean, it sounds like such a cool thing. I'm hoping to talk to Ruth and Rob about curating the Fisher Centre gigs, and also about Bluegrass Journey at some point soon. So I'll keep you updated on that as well. And I just noticed the other day Billy Strings has a live record coming out in July, Billy Strings Live Volume 1. First thing as part of his switch to Reprise Records. So I know he's working on a new album as well. But yeah, Billy Strings' live record is coming out in a couple of months, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I think it's going to be a double vinyl and double CD. That is it for news and announcements. Let's move on to the new releases, which is the bit we call The Grass is New. And your new grass for this week is as follows. Jacob Jolliffe's album Instrumentals Volume 2, Mandolin Mysteries, is out and is great and is well worth a listen. And I'll be chatting to him about it on the podcast very soon. So there's some stuff from that in the Grass is Mostly New playlist, which you'll find on Spotify, link in the show notes. Yeah, check that out. Really cool, really interesting. Great band, cool tunes, really interesting mix of stuff on that. Go and have a listen. Also out now is Bronwyn Keith Hines' I Built a World. As you will know, if you listened to the podcast last week and heard the interview, another great album, really cool band, some great sounding stuff on there. Go and have a listen. And a killer array of guest vocalists too. This is Bronwyn's first album as a vocalist, or the lead vocalist. Yeah, but she's got some really cool people singing and playing on that. Go and check that out. Andy Leftwich has a new tune out, R26, a swing tune featuring Cody Kilby on guitar and Byron House on upright bass. I've added that to the playlist. Jason Broyles has a new song called Strawberry Hill that I've added to the playlist. There is also a new release from David Grisman's acoustic disc label called Unexpurgated Grass. And what it says is this. Features previously unissued bluegrass studio performances by David Grisman with legendary friends, colleagues and heroes. Vassar Clements, Red Allen, Del McCoury, John Hartford, Herb Peterson and the Nashville Bluegrass Band, to name a few. Highlights of this collection from the Dog archives are several tracks featuring Tony Rice singing with Earl Scruggs picking his iconic banjo, and Jerry Garcia and Ralph Stanley rendering the classic Man of Constant Sorrow. Now, I can't put anything on the playlist for this because it's not on the streaming platforms. You have to go and buy a download from Acoustic Disc. But that sounds really cool. And as always, you get great sound quality with those digital releases from Acoustic Disc. So go and check that out. I'll stick a link in the show notes so you can go and find that too. That is it. So you've got Jacob Jolliffe and Bronwyn Keith Hines albums. You've got Andy Leftwich and Jason Broyles singles, and the David Grisman Unexpurgated Grass digital download. Lots of cool new stuff there. Link in the show notes to the Grass is Mostly New Spotify playlist if you want to go and listen to some of that. Moving on to Scroll On Buddy, which is the stuff that I've spotted on social media this week. And I've spotted a couple of things. First thing is Del McCoury has got a new album coming this June. 7 years after the last Del McCoury Band album, they've got what's it called? It's called Songs of Love and Life. So yeah, new Del McCoury album is always something to celebrate. And having heard Del singing on the new Tony Trischka Earl Jam record, I mean, what a voice that guy's still got. So looking forward to that. Exciting stuff there. And I saw a post from Hilary Klug, who I'm sure a lot of you know, fiddler, dancer, kind of Instagram influencer these days. She posted that she's joining Cirque du Soleil. They have a new country-inspired show called Song Blazers, which opens in July in Nashville and then is touring the USA. And Hilary is part of that and has been rehearsing with Cirque du Soleil for that. And that sounds really cool. I mean, I've never seen one of their shows in person, but I was fascinated by the Love show they did with the Beatles music. Their stuff just generally looks amazing, and it'd be really interesting to see how that pans out. So if I hear any more about that, I will share some details in another Bluegrass Briefing. That is it. What's left? In my ears. In my ears this week. And actually, I'm going to make this in my eyes this week because I read a really cool book. Following on from the Oliver Burkeman chat I had a few weeks ago, there's a book called Play It Again by Alan Rusbridger, and Alan was the editor-in-chief of The Guardian. He's now, I believe, editor-in-chief of Prospect magazine. But he basically wrote a book about how to fit in playing the piano later in your life around a busy job. And his job was busy. They were breaking WikiLeaks. They were breaking the phone hacking scandal in the UK. He was flying to the Middle East to help negotiate the freeing of journalists being taken hostage. I mean, this is an incredibly busy job. And he talks about, over the space of a year and a half, finding time within that to learn to play a piece of Chopin. And it's a beautiful book. And it's all about finding time for music in your life when it doesn't feel like the thing you can fit in. And we talked about all that with Oliver Berkman, and I think it's a wonderful thing to think about and be inspired by, and I really enjoyed it. I will stick a link in the show notes to where you can go and find out a bit more of that as well. But I think that is it for this week. So I will see you next week with another new interview and with your Bluegrass Briefing next week. But that is it for this week. All the usual stuff applies. Go to bluegrassjamalong.com. Dozens of backing tracks you can listen to. Jam along with, speed up and slow down. Dozens of interviews. We're nearing the 400th episode now. There's lots of content there. Go and check it out. Have a play around. See what takes your fancy. Get in touch if you want to get in touch. There's details on the website on how you can do that. The Spotify playlist, Grass is Mostly New, is in the show notes if you want to hear some new songs. That is it. I will see you next week. Have a fantastic week and happy picking. Bluegrass Jam Along is proud to be sponsored by Collings Guitars and Mandolins, making some of the finest guitars and mandolins in the world since the 1970s. Visit collingsguitars.com and find out why.